I think, you know, I've worked for a lot of GMs over my close to 30 years of doing this and stuff. And the one thing I will say, you are very adamant about the work-life balance, even though I don't listen to you very often.
You're the worst.
I am the worst, and I know, but it's self-inflicted, but it makes me happy. And
Right.
I think you know that.
Right.
But I also know you know me well enough to know, Diane, I need you to turn it off, because you know I'm not going to be able to be there more for you in other projects if I'm constantly burning at both ends here.
Yeah.
You're listening to My Supercar World, a Post Oak Motor Cars production from Houston, Texas.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of My Supercar World. Diane Kaplan here with my co-host, Lonnie Souza.
Hello again.
Well, have a good weekend.
I did. I had a great weekend. You know, you always ask me this every time we start a show, and I just draw this blank. So I just kind of revert to the honeydew, because there's always a honeydew list, right? But this weekend was good. It was I went to a very nice wedding.
I know. I think that's wedding of the year.
Yeah, it was just so elegant and perfectly choreographed, and beautiful. It's just so
how could it not be?
Yeah, but other than that, honeydews.
More honeydews.
I don't know. Yeah, I love working around my house. Yeah.
So Liz and I went to the Exotics Network. They did Exotics and Elegance up in Austin at the Domain.
Yeah.
We took the Bugatti. So she was the belle of the ball. Everybody just had so much fun checking the car out and stuff. So it was a great event. So the guys did great.
You seem to this is like a theme too, is every time you're asking me about my weekend, you've got something going on and I missed out completely.
Well, and you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
So June and July, for people that don't know in the ultra luxury world, tend to be a little bit on the slower side for us, because all of our clients are traveling to Europe and all these fabulous places, and to escape the Houston heat, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing is, just it gets real hot here in the summer, and people have summer homes wherever, northern U.S., Europe, wherever. But
it's also time that we all tend to take vacation, because it's the slowest time of the year for us.
Sure.
And so where are you going?
Well, I actually have first.
You got a little work and
I have a
pleasure.
business trip. Yeah, so I got to go to Lisbon, Portugal, which I've never been to before. Right.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
So pretty excited about that, and then I'm going to meet my family in Croatia.
Okay, so we've done Croatia before with Remat. Are you doing any different places than like Dubrovnik, like where we were?
Well, that was kind of the inspiration, was that trip to Dubrovnik for the Remat's Nevera.
Right.
That we got to go drive
on the side of a cliff.
That was a whole crazy experience. But because of that, I've been wanting to take them back for years, and just timing, and got really expensive. Like Croatia, we used to be this big secret, kind of the best kept secret out there, and it's beautiful. I mean, you're on the Adriatic Sea. The water is just so pure and clean. So it's I think it's like Italy and Greece.
Kind of
mixed together.
And
Yeah.
it's got that Mediterranean food and stuff too. The food was so amazing.
Yeah.
The wines. It was such a, I'd
That's
go
great.
back there.
So we're going to start in Split.
Okay.
And then spend a few days there touring around. Split you could spend days there and do kind of day trips,
Right.
waterfalls or somewhere in the ocean. And then we're going to head over to Hvar.
Okay.
I think I'm saying that right. It's Hvar.
We'll have to look that up.
Have to look that up. Yeah, I'm sure.
Google Translate.
That'll be over my head in this clip, but to Hvar, and then and that's going to be via a ferry, and then from Hvar to Dubrovnik.
Oh my God.
Which you remember Dubrovnik?
Yes,
yeah,
love Dubrovnik.
yeah. So
That's gonna be so much fun.
at the same hotel.
Oh my God, really?
The Sun Garden Inn.
Oh my God, great hotel. Anybody that's going.
Sun Gardens in
Sun
Dubrovnik.
Gardens.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Right on the water, lots of water sports. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be so much fun.
Game of Thrones kind of theme, so that's where Dubrovnik, that big wall, I believe that's where the opening to Game of Thrones, King's Landing. King's Landing.
Yes.
Yes.
And when you walk through that town, you actually feel like you're in an episode. Like I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty amazing.
So pretty excited.
Lonnie, everybody, and I know you get this as much as I do, people are send you messages or when you talk to them and stuff, they're all like, God, you've got the world, it's always so glamorous looking from the outside in, the luxury and ultra luxury car world. And you and I talk about this all the time. Yes, we do get to do a lot of great things. Like you're having to go to a Bentley world dealer meeting, so that's what's taking you to Europe. We have to go back and forth for Bugatti and things like that. But I think what people don't understand, one, we worked really hard to get here.
Sure,
Two,
for sure.
It's still the car business to some degree, and it's still long hours. I mean, don't you feel like the car business, I don't know. I don't want to say we don't have work-life balance, but it is still long hours. It's a lot of work. It may look glamorous on the outside, but it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah. I would hope that everybody would know and understand that, yes, what we show online, what we show on social media and Instagram is without a doubt all the fun stuff, right? I mean, it's glamorous, it's cool, it's fun, and it is all those things. But after we put all the work into planning it, right?
And do all the boring, not the boring stuff, but the stuff that actually runs a business.
Yeah. I mean, and guess what, guys? You have to make money in order to pay for all those things. So so we do our regular days involve a lot of, a lot of KPIs, a lot of measuring the business, a lot of reports, a lot of
spreadsheets,
But again, that hard work gets us to this point where we can kind of sort of play hard too, right? But yeah, it's it is different. I'm glad you mentioned that. I've been in the business 30 years, and when I started out, it was 6 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day, and I know there's probably still some people out there that are doing that. Like you said, put the time in, and opportunities were just there, right? I mean, they weren't just there. I mean, we earned them, but as they came, we took them, and then you work hard again. And then, you get to this point where we're able to do these kind of deals. But, and now that we also own a Chevrolet store.
Right.
And because of our experience and coming up in the business with exactly that, we kind of make it a point now to make sure that we're very mindful of that work-life balance with that store, because it does have longer hours.
It does.
It has a whole lot more head count. It has a lot more, just
a lot more volume.
Volume.
It's totally different than Bentley and Rolls.
Yeah. So it can, you can get caught up, especially in the sales side of it. You can get caught up working long hours because you want to sell as many cars as you can.
You want to sell the most cars. You're competitive. And
So taking time off you feel like sometimes you're going to lose out. I think we've done a great job at onboarding that team and really instilling this balance where, our employees, they do get to take time off. They do get to make it home for dinner. They do get to enjoy they get weekends off too. It's not consecutive, but they get them in there.
Right.
And so, I mean, it doesn't need to be as hard as it was when we came up in the industry. It's just a different world now. Yeah.
So tell me, for somebody that wants to get, especially in the luxury world, how do I get my foot in the door? How do I sell cars? How do I become one of those reps that gets to fly all over the world? How do I do that? What do you look for as a leader? You've been doing this for a long time, like you said, Lonnie, and we have hired a ton of people separately, together, everything. What do you look for? What's those qualities?
I mean, you kind of asked a multi-part question there, because look, if I'm hiring for leadership, I have one method of approaching that. And then if I'm hiring for other roles and positions that require more followership, every role has leadership in it. Don't get me wrong. But if it's for a sales associate or a technician or a service advisor, where there's a hierarchy above them, I'm looking for more culture than I am anything else, right? Yeah. Especially when you're looking at sales and service, customer facing roles.
Right.
Really, experience is good. I think it's great, and especially in this world, right? When we're dealing with luxury cars, I like to hire from domestic and import stores, right? And people that wasn't the way it was when we were coming up as well. Back in those days, I mean, shoot, I started in the 90s, and if you wanted to work at a BMW Mercedes type store, basically you had to have been a manager before in order to get a job like that, because it was kind of more.
That was back then.
That was back then. That was where you wanted to end up, and kind of retire at.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I started as a manager in a BMW store when I was in 22.
I started at a
23.
Mercedes-Benz store.
Yeah, and so I remember the age gaps.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was
Right.
tough for me. But today's different.
Right.
Right. If I'm going to hire, let's say for this store, it's very unlikely that I'm going to hire somebody from a luxury store. I'm not saying impossible, but very unlikely.
Right.
The likelihood is that I'm going to bring somebody in here that is either no experience in the automotive business, but has a high level of sales experience,
Or
right?
customer service.
Or customer service experience, customer interaction experience, hospitality experience, right?
Right.
They have that to bring to the table, but they don't necessarily have to have sold cars, right? Again, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a culture. I'm looking for a personality. You can train processes and procedures.
Right.
You cannot train personality.
You always say that.
Right. Yeah. So a little bit of a method, right? I think that, I think you have a hiring manager, that department head should be usually your first interview,
Right.
right? Because there has to be some sort of connection somewhere. So they have to determine if an applicant is going to be able to work in that department and perform those duties and roles, right? Whether they have the experience or not. They just have to be able to determine that because
You have the aptitude to do that.
yeah, it's their department.
Right.
Is this the person that they feel that they could train and bring in there to do the
Right.
job? But next, it should be a completely different department manager, right? That has nothing to do. Let's say I'm a sales manager hiring for sales, and I know I need to hire salespeople in order to hit our objectives.
Right.
I may be a little bit more driven to make the job to the first person I think
Right.
could qualify for it, right? So we want to have another manager that's really got no skin in that game,
Right.
right? To do a different assessment and to determine if that person does have the personality to fit the culture in this environment, right? And if they don't feel that way, then the interview's over, right?
And they literally don't make it to you.
Right. We should
Yeah.
not consider moving forward if that person doesn't feel that they could fit the culture of the store. What's the culture of the store or the rooftop? That depends on the leadership, right? That
Right.
depends on what you want it to be. So my culture may be different than
Another.
what everybody else wants. What I want in my work areas, I want great attitudes, right? I want hard workers. I want work-life balance, right? So I want it for me. I want it for everybody else that works with me. But if we're going to have that means that the time that we are here, we have to give 120%.
Maximize it.
Right. But the times we're not here, I don't want you to think about work. I want you to have people you can count on, teammates and leadership that you can count on to make sure that your job is functioning without you when you're gone, right? That's a lot. It sounds easier than it is, but there's a lot that goes on to make that happen. So we have to know, we know the environment that we want. You and I know the environment we want, right? So we don't want to let anybody come in that would disrupt that environment. So yeah.
Say bye-bye whenever they do start disrupting it. because
Yeah. I think
We've
in
worked so hard to get to this culture.
Yeah.
I
think in the 8 years I've been here, I think only one person has ever been separated because of performance, because it was just a little excessive. But really, I mean, we've had people hit rock bottom on performance, and we're there. We're like our environment is we just want to lift them up, right? We want to see them success.
Call in and help.
Yeah, and so and that's how we kind of approach it, and we bring that person back up. And really, because our approach is not to address the person, it's to address the issue, right? And there's always that issue has nothing to do with personal, right? And so we should be able to jump in, critique, assess, direct, instruct, and nobody's getting their feelings hurt.
Right.
That's the environment and culture that I'm kind of talking about.
You're kind of going for.
Yeah.
I think, I've worked for a lot of GMs over my close to 30 years of doing this and stuff. And the one thing I will say, you are very adamant about the work-life balance. even though I don't listen to you very often.
You're the worst
I
at it.
am the worst, and I know, but it's self-inflicted, but it makes me happy. And
Right.
I think you know that.
Right.
But I also know you know me well enough to know, Diane, I need you to turn it off because you know I'm not going to be able to be there more for you in other projects if I'm constantly burning at both ends here.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our sales team and stuff, I know that that's been something that you do. I mean, we've even got a few salespeople that are like, no, we need you to take your day off, because they do. How many of them come in on their days off?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
our old school car people in us is going, I love it. But then we also know that that's not
Yeah.
a good thing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And but don't you feel like, though, we were always raised that you get out of sales what you put into it?
Yeah, that's true. But that's kind of a work smart, not work hard type of thing. And people think that in sales, it's all about, working hard and being here and like not missing an opportunity,
Right.
not missing a phone call, not missing an internet lead, not missing a walk-in. And that's for any industry, right?
Right.
And that's not necessarily the case, right? Sales is cyclical, for one, and it takes discipline, and it's a numbers game, right? I mean, we always talk about you know what I'm going to say next, right? So, I mean, if I asked you what a great closing ratio was, I mean, you pick any number,
Right.
pick one that I can do easy math in my head.
20%.
20%. Let's say that's a great closing ratio if you're the best of the best. Then how many opportunities would you have to see to close at 20%, which is right? Or let's say 20 cars is what you want to sell. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. How many opportunities would you have to see to sell 20 cars to get your 20% closing ratio?
Right.
Well, that's 100, right?
Right.
So it means in any given month to sell 20 vehicles, you have to have 100 opportunities, either on phone,
Walk-ins,
internet.
Right.
And there's a couple of things that are going to come out of this conversation. What happens with the other 80?
Exactly.
Right? Well, in some way or shape or form, they've rejected you at the moment, right?
Right.
So you've had to live with 80 opportunities that did not buy in that month.
Right.
But the smart way of approaching it is to continue to work on those opportunities, right?
Right.
There's protocols for following up via email. There's protocols for following up with phone
And text.
and text. And what happens is, if you're the smart worker, you can do that from anywhere now with technology. I mean, you can take your day off and still follow up on your leads. You can take your day off and still catch a phone call, right? I mean, everything is what
In your cell phone.
VoIP phones now, and
Right.
everything's forwarded to your cell phone. So, so it doesn't mean that you don't have to be in touch. It just means you physically don't have to be here, and you can honor commitments to your family and friends, right, outside of work, which creates kind of more of a balance in life, right? And we don't have to be. This used to be a brick and mortar business. You had to be here under this rooftop in order for that success rate to happen, and you don't have to do that
don't have to
anymore,
do it.
right?
Yeah.
So
It's much more mobile.
yeah, it's much more mobile. Let me go back to this 80%
Yeah.
deal. You know, what's tough is, and the people who are here all the time, they really aren't working that. Some, I'm not going to take it away. Some are, but a lot aren't. It's the numbers game. So they're burning through all the opportunities,
Right.
and they have to be here in order to see more, to burn through more.
Right.
Right. And that's
To
kind
make
of,
up for that,
that's
right.
kind of, that's kind of what drives that approach, I think, in my opinion. Don't get
Right.
mad at me. But the other thing that I refer to when I'm talking about that 80% that didn't buy, I mean, a lot of times we feel rejected,
Yeah.
right? And because we think we did something wrong, we think we said something wrong, we think our manager didn't put enough in the trade, we think, we didn't we didn't get that menu fast enough.
Right.
We think we have all these other reasons for thinking why,
Excuses, right.
kind of excuses why. But honestly, it's just part of the game. It's part of the numbers, right?
Right. It's a numbers game.
So if you're saying you're the best of the best of the best, and 20% is that number,
Right.
that means no matter what you do, you're going to have to have 80% of no's, right?
Right.
Now they may come back and be part of the yeses in future months, right? But they're
Right.
going to be no's this month. So yeah,
It's tough.
it's tough.
It's
right?
tough. So at the ultra luxury, and we talk about this too. You don't really have to force somebody's hand to buy a Rolls Royce or a Bentley,
Right.
versus like our Chevrolet store, where you're much more competitive market and stuff. When it comes to entering in the world of ultra luxury and trying to get your foot in the door from a sales perspective, would you say, yes, product knowledge is important, but it's almost like the after sales, the experience, the like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's almost more of the focus, because it's more about creating that experience for that client, because it's such a repeat client and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's, your focus has to be more so, I feel like, on building relationships.
I think I think it's great that you asked that question in that way, to kind of continue what you asked earlier, right?
Right.
What, how to get into this world. In order to be in the ultra luxury sales, it is a different approach. And you're right. So, so selling maybe some domestic and import cars, it doesn't have to be as price driven, but it's very competitive.
It's more transactional.
It's more transactional, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to be, but it is, right?
Right.
This world is not like that client that comes in on that vehicle. One, they absolutely don't need it. They want it, right? And just like any other desirable, brand out there, Rolex or Hermes or anything like that, if you want it, they're gonna get it. They know what they want. They know what they got to pay, and they know they're going to get it. So, you got to do all the right things by, making, vehicle availability, and most of the time you're bespoke building these. So you've got to be able to navigate around those processes, but it's not as transactional. But it should be very experiential leading up to it. And then, of course, like you said, after the fact, that's when really the real workload starts, is after you've delivered this vehicle, because now you have to cater to that owner for as long as they're driving that vehicle. And so
I know what you're going to, yeah.
It takes a completely different person, right? It's a lot of follow-up. If you're spending that kind of money on if you're the buyer and you're spending a significant amount of money for a product, you have an expectation, right, to get of return. So it's not just, and in that world, it's not just the car, it's also the entire ownership experience that comes with that purchase. And so if you're not geared towards constant follow-up, towards really, you got to have a never say no mentality. Like the word no cannot be in your vocabulary. Doesn't mean you have to say yes, but you should never say no. And we get asked things after we're making dinner reservations in New York, in LA, in Miami.
And it's not that the salespeople have to do it. We have a complete team. That's what we have head of client relations for. So to do all of this.
True, but they should. If I were the salesperson, I would want to be the first line of contact. Oh my God.
Right? Max is known. Our Bugatti brand manager is known for that.
Yeah. So I would want to be. But but that's the thing. Not everybody's set up like we are, right? And so we do have an entire team that's dedicated to
helping support the sales team in that.
Helping support the sales team after the sale, but not everybody has that luxury.
Right.
And we didn't either.
Yeah, but that's all you though, Lonnie.
Right.
That is 100% on you, because like you said, not every store can afford a head of marketing, a head of client relations, and all of the things that we do. You have always made that a priority. You just have. That's just your mentality. That's you.
Right. But it is, because I think that, again, you can't shortcut that process or that experience for that client. Right. And so does that mean
the value in it?
Does that mean smaller margins? Yes, initially, but ultimately I'm trying to grow the business we're in the long game. Right. And so I'm trying to grow this business with that mentality, with that in mind. But, think about it though. If we do have those positions in place, then it does free that sales associate up to be more productive in getting more clients on their. I don't want to say. I almost wanted to say more deals, which is not a word I like to say, and transactions, but it does allow them to grow.
Cater to more opportunities.
It allows them to grow their portfolio. Right. I'm trying to be fancy with my words. So it allows them to grow their portfolio. So they become more productive on that end, right? With the same service-minded mentality, but we have, we are assisting, right? Care, because it's like the bigger your portfolio gets, it's like a dragging a parachute, right?
I know.
It gets harder and harder and harder to move forward. So we do have some assistance there.
Yeah. No, we've got a great team.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So we've touched a little bit on that. I know we've got just a little bit of time before we send you off on vacation. I want to touch on a few of some of exciting things with some of our brands. Bentley, vintage. So Bentley, we've got the new 2026 Bentayga. So I'm assuming you're going to be checking that out. And do you have any other surprises you can maybe share with us that you think you're going to see at the World Dealer Meeting?
I don't have any idea what I'm going to see there. No. But as a matter of fact, they've been pretty secretive about, I think by the time this comes out, we'll know, but they've been pretty secretive about the agenda. So, which means I would expect that we're going to see some possible future product. Usually when you have these world meetings, that's when those things are introduced.
It doesn't take your phones away.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's going to be, the next year model, but there's a plan. So I think all manufacturers have I think it's like an 8-year plan. So nothing is by surprise. You're not going to, when it goes from year to year or model to model, it's not like they just planned it, last week or even last year. It's been in the works. It's been in the works. So I would suspect that we're going to see things in the pipeline. I can't tell you where in the pipeline they're going to be, but I suspect we'd see that. But that new Bentayga Speed is obviously it's a special vehicle. I think what everybody's used to with Bentley is it's the 12-cylinder engine. I mean, this has been the one of the most iconic engines in the world. And I think at one time, I may be wrong, but at one time, the original Bentley Speed with the 12-cylinder was the fastest SUV in the world, even faster than the Urus for a second. So I don't, But this new Bentayga, no, I'm not the best at statistics.
And it all just came out like 5 minutes ago.
So it is now a V8, right? A turbocharged V8 with hybrid electric motors in the front.
Similar like the new GT.
Similar to the new GT, but I don't think what people should realize is this is not necessarily about like economics. It's more about performance.
All performance.
Yeah, so
nothing to do with being green.
Yeah, think more Formula One, right? Like, I mean, you've got hybrid assistance in there for performance reasons. So it's over 700 horsepower.
Yeah, it's like insane.
Yeah, it's the fastest. It is now the fastest.
It's very limited too. I mean, I think it's like,
Yeah, I'll tell you more when I come back though, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've also got some vintage modern SUVs coming. And we have we've got a bespoke order that's going to be delivered during Monterey Car Week.
Yeah, Pebble Beach. Yeah.
Super. It's going to be the Pebble Beach edition. So we're excited.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about this in the previous shows. Yes. That's just such a great vehicle. I mean, I can't wait.
We're super, super excited.
We'll do a whole lot of content around that too.
Yes, for sure. And then we've got Bugatti, the Tourbillon. It's configuration time.
We just configured our very first. So we have, I believe, 6 deposits. Yeah. And which was our allocation. So we sold our allocation. Our very first configuration was just completed a few days ago.
Yeah, and we're actually going to kind of see it and do the whole experience this weekend in Miami.
Oh yeah, I will be there. So here I am missing it. See, I just keep missing it every time these weekends come around. I'm always out of town.
I know we've got a big car show on the 21st, which you're going to miss that too.
Miss that too. Yeah.
Sure, you need to go on vacation.
Yeah, I need to go on vacation.
No, you do. It's so well deserved.
Yeah. The Tourbillon's going to be. It's just a masterpiece of a vehicle, and I think that what we should do is take you guys along with us when we do. So typically we would take our clients to the factory to configure, which we're going to do.
Which you're doing in October.
Yeah. So we'll give you a little
behind the
scenes. As much behind the scenes that they'll let us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lonnie, thanks for sitting down with me. We're going to take a couple of weeks off because you're going to go on vacation because My Supercar World's not complete without you.
Oh, that's not true.
It is true. And on top of the fact, we've got some amazing guests lined up, but everyone is traveling. So I think we've soon discovered June is not a good month for a lot of people. But I'm super excited. Got some really cool guests lined up.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Can you share?
Well, one is a racing legend.
Okay.
And I can't. One is a president of one of our brands.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Another one is a local hypercar owner, has some ties to Hennessy. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
We've already had some great
oh my
people
God.
here. Yeah.
I know. Between Cho and John Hennessy, I mean, man, people are loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I know. It's fun. But we're going to miss you around here.
Oh, it's only going to be 2 weeks.
I know. I don't think we've ever been apart for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well.
But we'll try to hold the fort down.
For sure.
Try not to blow anything up.
I know. I'll try not to be on my email.
Or Instagram, sending me goofy reels.
Yeah. You'll get, I'll be on my email every day and I'll be sending you goofy reels too. So,
okay. Anyways, thank you, Lonnie.
It's my inspiration for her to do.
So all the funny videos that we do on Post Oak Motors on Instagram and Fertitta Chevrolet, you can thank him.
No. It's not all my idea. I'm just now getting into it. So.
I think it just keeps us laughing. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
See you. I can't wait to see pictures. Send me whatever you can from the Bentley World meeting, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
My Supercar World is produced by Post Oak Motor Cars, where opulence reigns supreme in the heart of Texas.